Thank you very much for your time. And I hear that you will visit China this time next week. But I remember the first time you were in China was in 1994. Still remember the first impression of China?
Well, yes, every time I go, China's advancing, whether it's the buildings or the people we're meeting with or the technology. So it's been exciting to keep going back and see how quickly it's improving.
You have made so many trips to China over the years. So what do you think is the most significant change that has taken place in China?
Well, I'd say two things. One is the miracle of Chinese economic development. Since 1990, lifting people out of poverty, building up the infrastructure, developing world-class universities. I remember almost every year somebody says, well, now the China boom, now it's reached its limits. Well, then 3 years later, they'll say, now it's reached its limits. And of course, even today, there's some strains and challenges, but still the growth is lifting people up and is quite impressive. The second thing is I'd say that China is embracing its role in the world more. At first, of course, its first priority was the poverty in the country and the development of the country, and still the top priority. But in parallel with that now, China's joined the World Trade Organization. China's made really big commitments to Africa, both financially and about partnership. And in the region, the Belt and Road Project, is about tying together the economies for mutual benefit. So all of that has been exciting to see.
Many people all over the world read your annual letter earlier this year, and what strikes me most, of course, a lot of figures, quite impressive. It's just like 122 million children's lives saved since 1990. But strikes me most is that you mentioned that, and I would like to quote, improving lives abroad is in our own national interest as well as the world's. By preventing the spread of disease, we save lives in other countries and at home. By stimulating economic development, we open new markets for our country's goods. And by lifting up the poorest, we express the highest values of our nations. So that is very much in line with what President Xi Jinping has been advocating. For example, in the 2013, he put forward the Belt and Road. You probably have heard that. More than 40 countries and international organizations has signed agreement with China. So what's your take on initiative like Belt and Road? And how do you see China's role in global development and governance?
Yeah, the work of the Gates Foundation in China really has two faces. One is the work in China itself, and they're helping people who have HIV, helping avoid people getting infected, working on tuberculosis and smoking. So that one face is our work inside China itself. Our second face is partnering, is a three-way partnership where a developing country and China, our foundation, find a way to work together, taking some strength like livestock vaccines. China's very strong. Rice, including super green rice, China's very strong. So there are many examples, like in Ethiopia is a good example where funding new animal vaccines there is a project that we've been working on together. It's a group called CAD Fund, is the local Chinese partners.
So to my understanding that you share China's confidence in this, poverty alleviation.
Yeah, in my newsletter I mentioned that we asked people if they could guess how much poverty has been reduced in the world, and almost no one that we interviewed knew that. So Maybe in China, because people have lived through it, it would be more plausible. The Chinese partnership will go and help accelerate that improvement. And there are many lessons of things that China did very, very well in the agricultural economy and the manufacturing economy.
So your life actually is a legendary story. Actually, a lot of questions from the young readers. Here are some. Maybe you could show some questions. What do you personally find as your greatest achievement in life and work?
Well, I'm super lucky, and I've been in the area where things have been changing, and to be a part of the digital revolution, the magic of software, the internet, the personal computer, now the cell phone. It's been a great privilege. For me, I like to read and learn, and that there's always so many new things. Like artificial intelligence is now the very big thing. Outside of work, I've also been very lucky. I have a great wife, 3 amazing kids. The work of the foundation has become my primary thing. It was in 2008 that I shifted from being full-time at Microsoft to being full-time at the foundation. And we've made a lot of progress. Despite my concerns about these, the U.S. aid budget and other aid budgets, worrying that they'll be cut, overall, things, as you saw in the newsletter, have gone really well. It's not a major thing, but I have some hobbies like tennis and bridge. I actually won my first bridge tournament last weekend, so that's a small piece of excitement for me.